Patricia Dacre, and I'm happy to be with you here today. It's Monday night, so I've switched up my live days a little bit in anticipation of the videos I have coming out. So I'm going to start doing my videos on Monday night, tying them up with my blogs on Tuesday, and you'll get those in your mail. So be sure to subscribe. You can do that at dealingwithyourdiabetes.com. That's my website. As a reminder, this month, I'm doing a 5-part series all about my coaching pillars, and that's different than typically what you're going to see in your doctor's office, where we're talking about carbs and insulin and diet and exercise. That part's covered. What was a game changer for me was really all about what's going on in here and why we do what we do. So this week we're talking about motivation. So motivation is like, there's a lot of people that do it. They get you hyped up, get you excited about something, and for a while you'll do something. You'll be really motivated. But to me, it's something deeper and more long-lasting that we need. And so that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit tonight. Before we get started, I'll just go over my 5 pillars of things that I think are really important for managing diabetes well and living a happy and healthy lifestyle. So number 1 is education, right? We got to understand what we're dealing with. That's just foundational. 2 is emotion. So there's a lot of stuff going on in our head, feeling sadness, frustration, anxiety. Just it's hard. It's really hard stuff. And if you don't have the skills and tools to know how to deal with some of those emotions, they get really heavy and hard. Number 3 is motivation. I'm going to cover that tonight. And number 4 is ownership. So doing it your way on your terms, because by gosh, people, it is your life. You have to, right? It's your life and you have to do it your way. And that is within the confines of great diabetes care, but it's not necessarily the cookie cutter mentality you're going to get from your healthcare provider. So that's number 4. 5 is communication. And so healthcare in itself is nothing more than communication on steroids, right? I say something to my doctor, they get some information, they give it back. The amount of information I give to my doctor depends on what I get back, right? It's this back and forth. And not only in the healthcare setting, but also with family and friends. So there's a whole aspect of how to really tell people what's going on and communicate well so you get what you need versus defensiveness, anger, fighting, a lot of that stuff, or not feeling heard. So those are the 5 things. All of those in total really help you build up your resilience skills. And resilience has been demonstrated to be one of the most important things that you can do, or the most important trait that people have who live really well with diabetes, right? So resilience is that ability to get back up, bounce back, keep going, take care of things, and not get burdened and not get overwhelmed and weighed down with things that happen. And so that's a skill you can develop, but it's certainly not going to happen just on its own. It didn't for me anyway. So let's talk a little bit more about motivation. And so a lot of things that I learned about motivation didn't happen in nursing school. It wasn't part of my clinical background or education. But when I went to the corporate world, so I moved halfway through my career in 2000, I started working in a software company. And there's so much psychology in software and sales and corporations about why people do what they do. So we have things like purchase decisions. Why do people buy what they buy? What's in their heads that makes them choose to do that? Or how do people get along in groups? What is it that makes one person interact differently? Or our company had to figure out how to get ER doctors and nurses to use software. They didn't necessarily want to, right? So what's in it for them? What's the motivation? And all those are tied in underlying, perceptions, realities, beliefs, things like that. So typically in healthcare, we say, if we teach you these facts, that will be enough to motivate you. You have diabetes, bad things will happen, therefore go do it. Well, let me tell you, that does not work. It's so much more cumbersome because life happens, right? There's all these other competing ideas, and you have a lot of stuff already within you. So you have things like instinctual needs, like for hunger. So your blood sugar goes low, you're dying, eat. It's really, really, really hard to overcome. Even with all the willpower and all the education, when your blood sugar is 40, you're probably going to eat more than you should. It's going to be really, really hard. So things like that, those are instinctual things that happen. We also have your needs. So we have a lot of needs. Most all people, I'm going to say all people have a need to feel loved and secure and connected to other people, right? So diabetes puts you on an island. It's really hard because you're over here, you're supposed to do things differently. You're supposed to not eat what everybody else is eating. You have to do these things. You have to bring stuff with you. There's this whole slew of stuff that you have to do that puts you on the outside, right? So you've got instincts, you've got needs, and then you have beliefs. I think beliefs are the biggest one, right, for me. So beliefs are a series of things that have happened to you since you were born up until this moment. So maybe you walk away from this video and you believe something different. And if you believe something different, you'll behave differently. It's all about what our expectations are. If you think it hurts to poke your finger, it will. If you think it's a bad thing to have to check your blood sugar, it will be. Flip that up on, on top of its head, we can say, I get that information when I check my blood sugar. It's helpful to me. It's beneficial. So I'm kind of a blood sugar checker freak. I do it quite frequently just because I need to know. It's my belief. It's what's in my head. It's not a burden. Nobody has to make me. There's no feeling of, oh, I have to do this now at all. It's because in here, I have found value, benefit, and something that makes my life better by doing this. So that's what motivation is all about. So what happens in coaching is we tap into your motivation. So what's going on with you? Like, how were you raised? What are your underlying philosophies? What's your cultural background? What are your system of family beliefs? Because all of that information is going to influence how you see the world and what you choose to do, right? Not that simple. It sounds so simple if we could just do it. But it takes several things. One, it takes courage. You have to be willing to look and see what those things are that are in your way. And two, you have to be willing to see something new. So if you believe this is the way it is and this is the way it always will be, that's what will happen. And so in coaching, we can start kind of deconstructing some of those beliefs. Anyway, can't get into all of it right now. There's a lot of stuff, but get the idea that once you start believing something, then your behavior will change and it's effortless. It really isn't hard. So another good analogy, if you believe sticking your hand in a fire will burn you, you won't do it, right? You don't spend a lot of your energy or any anxiety worrying about that because it's just something that you believe. And so those natural things that we get in, they're just, once you can internalize those and figure out what it means to you, then the behaviors just automatically follow. It's so super simple. So in my blog, I've written a couple more stories that you can read about if you'd like to do that. I will invite you to go to my blog, and if you're on Facebook, I'll put a link below. If you're on Instagram, you'll have to go to my website, and it's in my Linktree link. But you go to the products page, and there are the diabetes home coaching e-courses. So I'm getting ready to launch my e-courses. So they're going to be 25 courses on my categorized in each of the 5 pillars that I talk about, that you can watch at home, internalize, do some workbooks, do some activities, and get you thinking and understanding what you might be missing or what you might not have ever thought about, right? And those can be big game changers. So go to my website, www.dealingwithyourdiabetes.com, and under products, you'll see the e-course. On that page, you can sign up to be an early adopter. And what that means for you is 2 things. One, some lucky folks will get my course free. And so if you sign up, I'm going to have some folks be early adopters, and you can give me feedback, take the course, let me know what works for you. Minimally, you'll get a discount on the course when they come out. So they're going to be coming out in November. We're going to be trickling those out. The first course is foundational. I hate that it's even there, but it's all about diabetes. But I think it's so important that we make sure we have a common understanding. So that's the first 5 lessons. And after that, we get into all this other kind of psychosocial resilience training things, which I think is really fascinating. So let's see. If you're not subscribed, please do that. That's on my website as well. And I want to ask you to go live your best life. Gosh, be happy. Be happy and find happiness. You matter and you're worth it. And just go do great things. Take care.